eyes all together. Inhale deeply.
वंदे शंभुमुमापतिं सुरगुरुं वंदे जगत्कारणं वंदे पन्नगभूषणं शशिधरं वंदे पशूनां पतिं वंदे सूर्यशशांक वह्निनयनं वंदे मुकुन्दप्रियं वंदे भक्तजन आश्रयं च वरदं वंदे भक्तजन आश्रयं च वरदं वंदे शिवं शंकरं. Friends, yoga is the art of prioritizing our thoughts, our feelings, our words and our actions. Prioritizing means we have to list out the various thoughts and which is the most important thought, which is the next important, lowest importance. There are several thoughts coming to our mind. Which is most essential? We list them out and we go to the top thought priority. Similarly, in our day-to-day activities, which activity is most important? We prioritize. There are several necessities which is most essential for us in our houses. We prioritize. In an organization, there are certain things according to the priority which is the most important. Similarly, in the day's routine, which is most important, in arranging the priorities, our yoga is seen. A yogi's priorities are different, an ordinary person's priorities are different. A yogi has his priority spirituality. Non-yogi's priority is physical. Yogi's priority is spiritual. Between the spiritual top and the physical bottom, there are several layers. We have to rise from the physical to the spiritual. In between, there are several sections. Every day, we have to rise from the lowest to the highest. An ordinary man's priority and a yogi's priority. For example, Swami Vivekananda was at the Parliament of Religions on the 11th of September 1893. He was the 23rd or 22nd speaker after the lunch. He came to the forefront of the stage. He looked at the audience. He remembered Goddess Saraswati, offered his prayers to Vishwa Mata, and when he thought of that cosmic mother, everybody in front of him looked like his brother or sister. When we look at people, what thought comes to our mind? When a lady is seen, there are various thoughts coming to our mind. When you look at a beautiful woman, there are people who look at her as their daughter, as their sister, as their wife, or as their mother. Depends upon the attitude. Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, whenever he looked at a woman, he had the thought of Divine Mother. Swami Vivekananda in Kshir Bhavani, when he looked at the young girls, he remembered the Virgin Mother Kanyakumari. He even worshipped literally. Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, when he looked at his own wife Sri Sharada Devi, he remembered the Divine Mother and literally, physically worshipped her. When Swami Vivekananda stood in front of the audience at Chicago, he remembered the cosmic mother, and everybody has one mother, and that is Vishwamata, cosmic mother. When she is the mother of all of us are brothers and sisters. And his thinking level is so elevated, so noble, so high that everybody appeared to be a brother or sister. And then you find this spontaneous, loving address of universal brotherhood, sisters and brothers of America. It is the idea level, thought level, feeling level, a spiritual dimension. When an ordinary man looks at the audience, what thought comes to his mind? When a yogi looks at the audience, what thought comes to his mind? His is an elevated idea. And that elevation, that evolution, that intensity of a feeling is from the heart of hearts, and spontaneously the people clapped. They felt the touch of human love. They felt that ambrosia is falling from the heavens above, and they had the taste of nectar of love. That Amrita Prema, that Divya Prema, that Ananda Prema, they were able to feel, and there was a spontaneous response, and they clapped. An ordinary man's address is worldly, earthly, selfish, with expectation. A yogi is non-worldly, otherworldly, spiritual, and it is all embracing. Even in our prayers, Sarve jana sukhino bhavantu, loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. When an ordinary man prays to the Almighty, please give me the sofa set, please give me good food, please give me the promotion, please give me the increment. Whereas an evolved prayer, a yogi's prayer, is let everybody be benefited. Let all the universe be steeped in the blissful ecstasies. That is the prayer of a yogi. Now, 11th of September, he became a global personality. He became a messiah. He became a prophet. That night, he was given a beautiful apartment, posh lodging, and people were coming to his residence, one after the other, to shower encomiums, to praise him, to admire him, to offer their congratulations. Right from 7 o'clock in the evening till late 11 in the night, the dignitaries of Chicago City, the high intellectuals of the US, and the business magnates, they were coming with gifts. They were showering their appreciation. They came with lots of food stuff. Varieties of food was brought. At about 11 o'clock, All the gifts were there on the table lying. All the letters of appreciation are there. All the words of appreciation are still ringing in the room. The food stuff of various varieties, it is waiting to be partaken by Swami Vivekananda. Imagine ourselves in such a situation. If I am to be there, I will only wait for the people's departure. When do these people go away? When can I begin to eat the good stuff? I don't want to share that food with anybody. I would like to eat it for myself, the various types of food. Swami Vivekananda's thought in the night at about 11 o'clock. Looking at the food, looking at the cushions where he can take rest, he had the one thought. He did not sit in the chair, he did not roll in the cushions, nor did he take that food. He came to the floor, rolled and wept profusely. His eyes were streaming with tears. There was a flood of emotion, all concern for the fellow human beings. When a single person is given so much of food, so much of luxury, how about my people in India? They don't have food to eat. They have no shelter to live in. They don't have clothes. And he wept for the fellow human beings, poverty-ridden fellow human beings. And his expression that night, he composed two beautiful sentences touching everybody's heart. One, him I call a Mahatma, whose heart bleeds for the poor. He is a Mahatma. Maha means great, Atma means soul. Mahatma means the man of large soul, great soul. Who is that Mahatma? A Mahatma is a person, a Mahayogi is a person whose heart bleeds for the poor. There are downtrodden people. There are suffering people. If only we have concern for them. If only we have tears to shed for them. If only we have blood to be shed for them. We call ourselves that man a great yogi. Him I call a Mahatma, whose heart bleeds for the poor. We have the great person Mahatma Gandhi. Gandhiji was given that wonderful word Mahatma when he visited Madurai in Tamil Nadu. When he came to Madurai city, a large advertisement was made that Gandhiji would address all the people at about 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. From all the nearby places, more than 100,000 of people gathered even at 10 o'clock in the morning, waiting for the great person to come and speak. They were all waiting in the scorching sun, and Madurai is a place of heat. There are only 3 seasons: hot season, hotter season, hottest season. There is no rainy season, there is no winter season in Madurai. Such a hot climate you have, people were waiting for Gandhiji to come. Exactly at the appointed time, he arrived on the stage and he was wearing a shirt. There is an ocean of humanity in front of him. There were people, dark-skinned people, brown-skinned people, without the upper garment, black bodies, dark bodies, people sitting in large numbers, looking at them. What a poverty-stricken condition our people have. When so many thousands of people do not have the shirt to wear, a shawl over their shoulders, not even a towel, what right do I have to wear the shirt? And then and there he removed the shirt. Since then, he did not wear an upper garment. Him I call a Mahatma, whose heart bleeds for the poor. What a difference it makes, an ordinary man's priority, a yogi's priority. Swami Vivekananda on that 11th of September in the night at about 11 o'clock, his priority is feeding the people in his country, giving clothes to his people in the country. Gandhiji's priority is to get independence to this country. And my priority is to get food for myself, to enjoy the pleasures of the body. What a difference it makes. A non-yogi is selfish. An ordinary person is body-centered. He seeks pleasures for his body. He seeks food for himself. Let anybody go to any dogs. Let anything happen to everybody. Myself should be comfortable. This is an ordinary man's thinking. A yogi's thinking, him I call a Mahatma, whose heart bleeds for the poor. Simultaneously, he constructs another sentence in that midnight. He did not eat that night. He did not sleep in the cushions that night. When he describes the qualities of a sannyasi, the first sentence Swamiji writes is voluntary poverty. When you have wealth, don't enjoy it. When you have food in plenty, take what least is needed for the sustenance of your body. When you have hundreds of clothes, take the minimum. That is voluntary poverty. That is the quality of a yogi or a sannyasi. Now, Swami Vivekananda that night gives another wonderful sentence. Him I call a Duratma. First sentence, him I call a Mahatma. Second sentence, him I call a Duratma. Bad soul, dirty person, whose selfishness is topmost. Him I call a Duratma, who has no concern for the fellow human beings, who having been educated at the cost of millions and millions of poor people, who has been sent abroad for the higher jobs, does not care for them, who does not think of them, who does not have love for them, who does not serve them, is a Duratma. It is a trusteeship. If God has given me knowledge, it is not to make money out of that knowledge. That knowledge is to be distributed. If God has given me wealth, it is not for my selfish pleasures. I am a trustee of the wealth. That wealth is to be distributed among the poor people. Everybody is a trustee. Trustee of the knowledge. Trustee of the wealth. Trustee of the health. When we fail to be the trustees, we are not yogis. What a difference it makes, an ordinary man's thinking and a yogi's thinking. Swami Vivekananda that night wept. Him I call a Duratma, who having been educated at the cost of millions and millions of poor people, does not think of them, does not love them, does not have concern for them. This is the physical thought. An ordinary man thinks, what is the benefit of talking here? What is the benefit of going there? What is the benefit of Prashanti to me? What is the benefit of Bharat Mata for me? What benefit do I give to the motherland? That is the yogi's thinking. Similarly, feelings. Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa has had wonderful divine feelings. An ordinary example, if I look at a rose flower, if I look at jasmines, my thought is to pluck it, keep it near the nose, feel the fragrance, enjoy and put it on the floor, crush it. An ordinary man. A slightly elevated man, he collects the jasmines, takes them, gives them to his girlfriend. Another elevated person, he collects the jasmines, makes a garland, keeps it on the picture of Lord. Difference, jasmines are same. People are looking, one fellow feels the fragrance and throws it out. Another fellow takes it and gives it to his near and dear. Another fellow takes it, gives it to God. At another, he just sees it and gets transported to the higher realms. Siddhartha was unable to touch the flower. He was unable to touch the plant. He was unable to touch the leaves because he felt his fingers were hard and the delicate body of the jasmine would feel hurt. Therefore, he did not even touch the jasmines. When a flower was plucked, he felt there was excruciating pain in his heart, as though somebody is plucking him, puncturing him, torturing him. When we look at the small children, small babies, you just see and enjoy. There are people who take the baby and fondle. There are people who take the cheeks of the baby, crush them, and the baby is weeping. This man is enjoying. All attitudes. A yogi sees divinity in everyone. A yogi sees spirituality in everything. Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa's approach to the nature is wonderful. Once, it was Mahashivratri. In Bengal, in his place, they wanted to play the drama of Siva Leela, the sport of Lord Shiva. Many devotees, even today, all over the country, would like to remain wakeful throughout the night on Mahashivratri. It is supposed to be auspicious. The drama was to commence at about 10 o'clock in the night and end at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock in the next morning. The actors were all ready, the director, producer, everybody was ready, and there was one fellow who was to take the role of Lord Shiva. But unfortunately that day, that man was overdrunk. He was sleeping like a log. The director or the producer could not wake him up. He tried his best. The fellow was overdrunk. Then an alternative person, a substitute is needed. He searched. The director of the drama troupe. He found Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, a very young man with 1/4 of the inch beard, with half-closed eyes, with a sense of trance in his face seen. This Ramakrishna was seen by our producer. He went to him. Sir, today our actor is dead sleep, overdrunk. You please come and take the role of Lord Shiva. Sri Ramakrishna said, I am not an actor. I do not know how to deliver the dialogue. Then the director said, there is no need. You need not have to speak at all. You are only to sit with a blessing posture. We will give the sufficient makeup of Lord Shiva, and you will be seated like Lord Shiva, and you will be blessing the people. Beyond that, you don't have any role to play. Sri Ramakrishna agreed. He was brought. He was taken to the green room and the makeup started. They have brought the tiger skin. They have put it around his lion, and with the lion cloth of the tiger skin, his body was besmeared with sacred ashes. The doll, Ganga's image, was placed on his head. There were rubber snakes all over the body. As the sacred ash was besmeared all the body, Sri Ramakrishna was going to a trance state. Shivoham, Shivoham, Shivoham. As the makeup of Lord Shiva was being given to him, as the vibhuti was being applied to his body, he was getting Shiva consciousness. Ordinary man, if he was given the role of Lord Shiva, how do I look? Am I like Shiva? Is my girlfriend able to recognize me when I am in the garb of Shiva? How do I sit? Do I sit like self-centered thoughts? Sri Ramakrishna's thought, Shivoham, Shivoham. All the time he was getting that Shiva consciousness, and he was going from the physical state to a spiritual illumined state. Shivoham, Shivoham. And he was becoming unconscious. The earlier man was unconscious because of drinking. Sri Ramakrishna was becoming unconscious on account of drinking the nectar of Lord Shiva's thought. Worldly people fall asleep. Spiritual people go to state of samadhi. An ordinary thing like vibhuti. Vibhuti is being applied, and it reminded Sri Ramakrishna of Shiva. Ganga's image reminded Ramakrishna of Lord Shiva. The snakes around his body, they reminded Ramakrishna of the great Shiva consciousness, and when he was becoming more and more immersed in Shiva consciousness, people were surprised. All the audiences, they were looking at him, and all people started saying, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. Instead of playing the drama, that night everybody recited Namah Shivaya Japa, and everybody was elevated to ethereal heights of spiritual sublimity. That was the grandeur. What thought do we have? When we look at the food, most of us have the experience of going to Lord Venkateshwara at Tirupati, Balaji. And I see thousands of people going, saying Govinda, Govinda, and entering the sanctum sanctorum. Their hands are outstretched, and Govinda, Govinda, please give me, please give me, give me, give me. Give me money, give me wife, give me husband, give me children, give me promotion, give me increment, give me health, give me, give me, give me. Govinda, give me. Ordinary people. A devotee comes, a yogi comes. Venkateshwara, last year I came, I saw you stand. Year before last I came, I saw you stand. At night 1 o'clock, these people were troubling you, you are not allowing you to sleep. They don't allow you to have breakfast. They don't allow you to talk to your wife. They don't allow you to sit. You continue to stand. Venkateshwara, when can you take rest? What can I do to you so that you can take rest? Has anyone thought of a concern for the Almighty? What thoughts do we have? Make us devotees, make us yogis. Self-centered thoughts, elevated thoughts of spirituality. Hinduism is known for yogic elevation. That's why in our prayers, we don't have prayer for the benefit. Kamya Bhakti is given least importance. Nishkama Bhakti is given top priority. Kamya Karma is not given high importance. Nishkama Karma is given top priority. Yajna is service, welfare, welfare, welfare of the people. Sarve jana sukhino bhavantu, loka samasta sukhino bhavantu, vasudhaika kutumbakam. Let all people be benefited. A yogi has elevated thoughts. A yogi has elevated spiritual feelings. Even the ordinary things in the world directly take him to a higher realm. Swami Vivekananda is an example. Chaitanya Prabhu is another wonderful example. Sri Ramakrishna in the recent times is a wonderful great yogi, thinking always of the spiritual heights. May we, by the grace of Lord Sri Krishna, try to make ourselves yogis by rearranging our priorities. Priority of thought, priority of feeling, priority of word, priority of our deeds. In our thoughts, in our feelings, in our expressions, and in our actions, let us rise from the physical self-centered ones to the elevated spiritual heights. May we now meditate on Yogeshwara Sri Krishna. असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा मृतंगमय ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामया सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः